I'm Mr. Ecosystem, and today we're going to be looking at these pair of Knipex plier wrenches along with this pair of Wiha, I guess plier wrenches as well, as Knipex calls them. And I might as well talk about these that I got with these. So let's get started. Alright, so moving away from the small guys for a second, so we can get a better look at the two that I can compare easiest. This Wiha pair I've had for a couple years now, and I've put them through the ringer. I use them for a lot of gas piping, and they've held up super well, which I was unsure about just because of the unique mechanism that they use to clamp down and easily ratchet the head closed, which is definitely the best feature about these. I've even used these as a hammer, and they've held up quite well to that too, so nothing bad to say about these. They still work, and they've definitely had their use. These I just picked up in the set with the little guys. This is the Knipex pair, or equivalent of these. Price-wise, obviously the Wihas, you're going to find them cheaper. I got these on sale, so they were super affordable, and why I bought these over the Knipex at the time. They're both really, really great pliers. I'll just touch on a couple things on both of them, and I guess we'll start with the Knipex, because I just got these. I tried these out a little bit. They're not bad. They definitely work well. They're solid. A little more play than I would have anticipated, and I'm probably only saying that because the 7-inch has very little play in comparison, and I know that has a lot to do with spring tension here, as well as how tight the tolerances are between the two sections of the pliers, and something we'll talk about later that happened to be on, trying to fix play. They're good pliers, quite expensive. They do come with a lifetime warranty, so that's something to keep in mind. We'll take a closer look at these. I would have liked to have the action a little bit smoother. Don't know what that says. Maybe it's just because I'm comparing them to the Wihas, which are pretty smooth, and possibly older Knipex pump pliers that I've had that were a little smoother at the time. They're a little worn now. The other thing too is sometimes if you have it between, the button won't pop back over. All you have to do is wiggle the pliers and it'll come back into place. I would have liked to see a little bit more finishing on these. The casting is pretty good. A couple things I notice is the seam for the mold is pretty evident. They didn't grind this down much at all, which is okay. The one thing I would have liked to seen though is having this section where the two halves of the back plier slide up and down, so it's a little bit smoother. They left it completely unfinished, and they only machined that channel there for the head to slide across. I don't know if that's why they don't feel as smooth as you would expect, but solid forging all around. Play is pretty much the same as the Wihas. I did take this off and bend the spring down to give more tension to try to reduce the play. It actually also helped to make this smoother, but unfortunately, when I did that on the 6-inch, which also had a lot of play, they broke. Alright, so what I did is I bent it down a little bit to put more pressure on the little button here, so that, it just reduced how much play and wobble there was in the wrench, because I noticed on the 7-inch, the bar came bent down like that from the factory. If you can kind of see it there. Whereas on the 10 and the 6, there wasn't really a bend. Now, I bent it down a little bit, but on the 10-inch, I was very conservative because I did it after I broke it on the 6-inch. And you would think, okay, the 10-inch is going to be stronger, it won't be as bad. Well, they use the same screw. Same size screw. I just found the screw was weak. And even taking the screw out on the 10-inch, I didn't think it was very strong. And the threads aren't cut very deep into it, so it doesn't have a lot to grab onto. I just would have liked that screw to be made out of something stronger because it sheared off just by me tightening it with a Torx screwdriver. So definitely something unfortunate about that. But it did help. I want to do it more to reduce the play a little bit more, but I'm scared that this is going to break. I'm just going to leave it as is. The 7 is nice and tight, which I super like. I'm going to put it in my main service tool bag. I did notice, like I said, that it had the bar bent with the most downward pressure. Along with, you can visually see a nice tight tolerance there. As opposed to these. So that definitely helps. Not sure if I can get this warranted because I bought these from a liquidator because I'm probably not going to spend, $250 Canadian on a set of pliers, to be honest. So that's definitely why I got them. It is definitely more worth it to get it in the set because I think these are like $80 Canadian alone right now. And these are like the same. This is like $80 and this is like $80. It's crazy. I would probably be absolutely loving this wrench if I didn't have this one. Funny enough to say. Actually, let's put that in the frame there because they look nice. I mean, if we're going by looks, obviously the Knipex looks nicer. They actually make these with the black oxide finish, similar to the type of finish this Wiha pair has. The finish has held up super well on these Wiha ones. It's still shiny. It still has some gloss to it. I mean, only a couple little spots where the finish came off and there's a touch of rust. A little bit, but that's more from things I've tried to tighten with it. But like I said, these have treated me super well and I've abused them. I haven't been good to them, sad to say, but they've held up well. They do have probably about the same side-to-side plate as the 10-inch Knipex. Looking closer, you can see that this plier here has had a lot more finishing work done to it. There's a lot more milling and grinding that's been done and finishing to it. As you can see, unlike the Knipex, the entire channel has been ground down so that it's nice and smooth on either side for this to slide up and down. Another thing you'll notice is there's only teeth on one side. I was also skeptical about that in strength-wise, if any teeth would break over the years, but nothing. It's been good. Most of the time when I'm working with this and I'm closing it, I'm kind of just sliding it till the size I need to get to, and then I'm wrenching down on whatever it is. So that's probably the thing I like the most about these, the Knipex doesn't have. That's really it about the Wihas. Nothing much to them. Interesting mechanism, and you would think that it would kind of be bothersome or cumbersome or kind of janky, but it's actually pretty good and I'm really surprised, and I didn't think I would like the way these worked as much as when I got them until I started using them. So, capacity wise, they're both the same 1 3/4 inch. The new version does 2 inch, so that's nice. The only difference gripping onto things I can see is this protrudes a little bit more than where it does on Knipex pliers. as you can see there. So that might make a difference for some people that are trying to grab onto super, super large things. This lower jaw doesn't appear to be as long, but it works great for me. I mean, I haven't had a problem gripping onto anything. It's been super tight. It's never slipped on me. You know, and these I would assume the same. Knipex makes good stuff. Really, really, really good quality pliers. Both of them. I guess this video is more of, I was surprised how good the Wiha ones were, and I'm not surprised how nice the Knipex ones are. Kind of surprised that the screw broke, but you know, shit happens. And I have had Knipex pliers for a long time. These Cobras have served me well. Definitely a nice plier. The teeth are still close to being as sharp as when I bought them, which is nice to say. The NWS, I had some problems with the teeth chipping a little bit and rounding, and you know, I just find the teeth aren't as hard. I had 2 sets of these, and I had the same problem of the teeth just not gripping as well as the Knipex ones. They still grip well, but not as good as the Knipex ones. And I think it's just due to the teeth geometry, the way they bite into the pipe. So, but honestly, best handles on any plier right here are the NWS ones. Super, super nice. Similar mechanism to the same mechanism as the Knipex, except the only difference is these ones are like the Wihas, and where, boom, you can just push them close. So best of both worlds. Alrighty, so between the 2 pliers, you can't go wrong. They're both really, really good. Unfortunate that the 6-inch broke on me. What are you gonna do? It is what it is. If I have to choose one or the other, if they're the same price, oh man, it's really hard to say because I can't tell you how many times being able to ratchet down on something in a tight spot has helped me a lot, and actually saves time as opposed to having to find, you know, the right spot, especially because the jaw doesn't open and close very much as opposed to, like, you know, what a regular pump plier will. So you gotta be more accurate setting the jaw distance when using this one as opposed to the Wihas. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a look at 2 really, really good products and trying to shine some more light on this Wiha one, because for an average of being 20, sometimes 30, maybe even $40 cheaper sometimes, if you can find this one on sale and this one's regular price. I mean, you know, it's hard to choose this one over this one. For people who need a smaller size plier or something more compact with a smaller head that can get in something tighter, the size of the head on the 6 and the 7 is pretty similar. So both 2 pretty compact wrenches that obviously you couldn't get either of these into. And both of them having a pretty similar profile. Wiha slightly chunkier. I noticed that some of the parts are thicker and beefier. I don't know if that's because they only have the teeth on one side to help reinforce the mechanism or what. That's just something I noticed. The big plus of the Knipex are the multiple sizes. I mean, you can get them in a 5, a 6, a 7, a 10, a 12, a 16, every size plier you want. I would recommend both of them. And one thing is, the Wihas are harder to find. There's a lot more Knipex dealers. I mean, you can walk into any Home Depot and like buy these off the shelf, whereas Wiha, you know, you got to go to maybe a specialized store. Amazon might have it, Amazon might not. Amazon's always going to have the Knipex, all kinds of Knipex. The 3-pack, like I bought here, so you can save some money. That's a definite way to be more economical buying the Knipex is to buy the 3-pack because it's so much cheaper. Can't go wrong with either one of these. All great products. I would like to have tried a couple of the other similar adjustable wrench pliers, as I'll call them. If you're considering a style of plier like this, I recommend it, especially for pipework, brass fittings, fixtures, plumbing fixtures and stuff like that, where you don't want to damage it or anything. I find myself using these now more than I'm using these or these, which is interesting to say, and I wouldn't think that that would be the case when I ended up buying these initially, but for what I do, they just serve the best purpose. I used to keep one of these in my daily bag, and now I'm just keeping this. It's a little 7-inch. And the 6-inch is a super nice pocketable one. If you just need to tighten up little things, you know, definitely good for a maintenance kind of person. Should you buy them? Yeah. I mean, why not? And that's it. That's all about my pliers. Hopefully this video helped you decide something, I guess. Kind of showing the differences and, I guess, similarities between these two pliers here. Like I said 3 million times, I recommend all the pliers here. I'm Mr. Ecosystem, and thanks for watching.